Welcome. This is our day 7 of our Breathing Week practice challenge. And I hope that you've been enjoying whatever you were able to partake in. It's interesting to go through a consistent awareness practice over several days in a row. I've enjoyed it as well. And today we're going to do another grounding and orienting exercise as we have been every day. And then to some breathing. And also to integrate, in a way, what happened during the last 6 days of practice and today. You might have not have been here for every one of these. They are recorded, and they'll be up on Insight Timer probably in a week or so. And we can do these more than once. The thing about a practice is that we can do it again and again. And each time we do a practice, the experience is a little bit different. I know when I first started, not with yoga, but with meditation, and I noticed the whole 20 minutes of the practice, I was just struggling with my back was sore and my mind was all over the place. And I had a pretty diaphragmatic breath. I wasn't holding my breath. So that's something, though, that I worked with over the next few months, checking in. How am I breathing? Am I holding my breath? What's going on? It's interesting to see over years, for me it's been 30 years, but also over weeks and months and days even, how big of a difference we can see in our nervous system, in our experience with our breath. So at the beginning of this week, we started off talking about how the nervous system takes a priority signal through the breath. If we're not breathing diaphragmatically, if we're breathing shallow or rapid, or particularly if we're holding our breath, that signals danger to the nervous system, because that's how we breathe when we feel under threat. When we do these practices of allowing for a deeper, longer breath, diaphragmatic, a more continuous, more ease in the breath, that really signals to the nervous system that our body is safe. It's a very important foundation. All of the other practices that we do can be helpful, but it won't override the signals if we're holding our breath or if we're breathing up in our chest. So this is the one shortcut that really would be helpful for everyone to work with. Let's start. Notice as you start how your breathing is right now. Usually when we're talking about something or bringing our attention to something, it will get more ease. Okay, I could deepen my breath a little. I notice that I'm breathing diaphragmatically, but it's hardly enough to support life. So we could breathe in a little bit more deeply. Exhale a bit longer. And let's go back to one of the breathing practices that we did, cyclic sighing. We won't do it for the full 5 minutes, but just for about a minute. That's a deep double inhale through the nose and a long, slow exhale, like you're breathing out through a thin straw. So your exhalation can be quite long. Inhale through the nose. And then a long exhale through the mouth. And as you're breathing out through the mouth, let your whole body soften from head to toes. One more deep double inhale. Notice now what changed about your breath, about your experience in your body. I know I could feel my shoulders soften just a little bit more. Notice what changed as you did that, just a 1 minute practice of cyclic sighing. Maybe your mind had a break from the compulsive thinking or the wandering mind. Relaxation response kicks in. The grounding and orienting practice that we're going to work with today is around being in a safe space. Let's start with where we are right now. Look around the room and notice cues of safety. Look behind you. Again, we're letting our eyes tell our nervous system whether or not we're safe. Most of us are in a safe enough situation where it's not a problem, but letting our eyes directly communicate is helpful. Now, you could either close your eyes or have them open, but visualize yourself in a completely safe space. This could be a place in nature. It could be a person, a group of people. It could be snuggling up with your dog or your horse. Bring it to mind. Bring it into life in your mind with your senses. What are you seeing? What are the smells? The aromas? I have a memory of a place in the mountains where, in the sunshine on a summer day, there's a certain smell of the baked moss. The moss is just baking in the sun and it has a beautiful smell. What is your smell associations with your place, if any, might be coming into the smell of baked bread or the smell of a certain person, whatever that is. You might notice the play of light, if there's sun and shade. What are you seeing? And what are the sounds? Are there birds? The sound of running water? Sound of someone's voice? Let everything else move to the background and visualize this. You might have a mental picture, it might be more of a felt sense. Use all of your senses. What about touch? What are the qualities of touch in this space of yours? Might be the gentle breeze on your skin or the warmth of someone's hand. And notice now how you're breathing. Let's go right into a breath practice, starting with the smooth, continuous diaphragmatic breath. It's about the same length on the inhale as the exhale. And you could imagine that you're in that safe space. You could keep that going. What do you breathe like when you feel completely safe? Maybe it's a warm bed in a cold room when you wake up in the morning and you don't have to rush anywhere. Whatever it is for you, notice, what does your breath feel like right now? Notice as you're breathing in how long it takes to breathe in. You might be breathing into a count of 4 or 3 or whatever that is. And then see if your exhalation can be about the same length. If you're breathing into 3, then breathe out to 3, approximately. As you're getting that established, also notice where the movement is in your body. If it feels comfortable enough to notice the stomach area, let your stomach soften as you breathe out. Let the stomach move back towards the spine. As you come to the end of the exhalation, allow your breath to move right in on the inhale. There's a turnaround or a transition, but we're not holding our breath. When you have enough of an in-breath, let the breath go. For several breaths, notice the transition points in the breath. Like a wave on the inhale, the belly's rising, expanding, and then you reach the end of the inhale. And it just starts moving right into the receding part of the wave. It comes down, belly softens, and then we're finishing the exhale. And then on the inhale, we come up into that expansion again. New oxygen coming into the lungs. Smooth transition. Exhale to inhale. Inhale to exhale. Notice if you could position your body a little bit differently, perhaps, to help with that process. If you're slumped over, it's not going to be as easy. You could bring yourself up or back, or however that would improve your breathing, structural part. Keep your mind here in your body and on the breath. If you don't want to focus on your stomach, you could focus on the sensation in your nostrils, on the relaxation response as you breathe out, your whole body softens. Let's start to extend the exhale a little bit longer now on the exhale, but the same continuity and the ease in the breath. Inhaling to 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you inhale to comfortably. And then exhaling up to twice as long. You can do this both through the nose or in through the nose, out through the mouth, whatever you want to do. Let your mind be focused. And if you like, you could also go into that practice of VU. Sometimes it's very helpful to have an audio cue. Our throat is relaxed, how the diaphragm muscle is working. That would be an inhale through the nose, exhaling VU. And let it go on as long as there's ease. Right into the inhale again through the nose. VU. And soften your throat. Let your whole body relax. And as you're breathing out, it can be helpful to focus on the body. For a few out breaths, you might soften your forehead, eyebrows, and eyes. See if you could let go of any worry or concern. We know that they will very helpfully come back later. We could let them go for now. In your next couple of exhales, work with the hinges of your jaw, your mouth, your throat, sides of your neck and shoulders. And with that longer exhale, we have a bit longer time to let the relaxation response soften our body. Coming down through the back of the neck, shoulders, upper back. As our breath signals to the nervous system that our body is safe, it becomes much easier to soften our body. Our body will go along with what the nervous system is signaling. Oh, okay, I've got this smooth, even breath. It's okay for me to soften, let my shoulders release. I don't have to brace myself for trouble right now. I could let my upper back soften, my chest. Notice your arms and legs if you're ready for action. See if you could bring that back. It's okay not to be ready. One thing we can always trust our nervous system will jump into action when we need it. Let yourself relax for a bit as you're breathing out. You might soften your shoulders down through your arms and hands. The whole of your back body, back of your neck, shoulders, upper back, mid back, down through the back of your legs. Let your legs be at rest. Bring your awareness back to your whole body again, head to toes. Notice your experience now. What does it feel like to be you in your body, your mood, your thoughts? Is your breath quite reassuring? Are you still having to come back? Go, "Oh, okay, I'm holding my breath a little bit there. I could smooth that out a little bit more." And there's no right or wrong answers to this. We can notice and practice. Let your breath become more of an even length again. Still that same smooth continuity, but about the same length on the exhale as the inhale. And it might be the same length now, it might be a little longer than before. We're going to work a little bit with joyful breath, the alternate nostril breathing. When we start that, when we begin, we start with noticing the flow of awareness in the eyebrow center to the base of the nostrils and the sensation of the breath as it moves in the nose. If you were to take a couple of deep in breaths, notice if one side has more openness, more flow, it's a bit cooler. You could block off one with your ring finger and thumb and see. We're going to start with the active nostril in a moment. And the other part of this is if you like the sound, so hum, the mantra, then you could think about that or hear it in your mind and allow that to flow with your breath and with that awareness. We have the awareness from the eyebrow center in behind the forehead to the nasagra, where the nostrils meet the upper lip. So we get that going in coordination with the breath. We add in so, hum, so on the inhale, hum on the exhale. Now let's start. We're going to do this simple breathing several times on one side and then on the other side today. Exhaling and inhaling first through the active nostril. Check that your posture is upright, that you're not dipping your head down, that you have room to breathe. Next exhalation, take your time, change to the passive nostril. Let your awareness flow in that channel from the eyebrow center down through the passive nostril. Next exhalation, back to the active nostril. Let your mind really focus in. Let it flow with the breath. Exhalation, back to the passive nostril. Intend with your mind that that nostril will flow more freely. Partly that's really paying attention to the sensations in that nostril for now. Take your time back to the active nostril. Exhale and inhale. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Smooth flow of breath, awareness, and sound. And then changing on your next exhale to the passive nostril again. When you finish that inhale, bring your hand down and follow the flow in both nostrils again. We notice the physical sensations of the breath in the nose. You could notice the continuity and the ease in the breath. Let your breath be smooth and continuous. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Let your attention move away from the physical into the subtle or the energy channel, from the eyebrow center to the base of the nose and back. Smooth, even flow of awareness, breath, and mantra. If you want, you could bring back that safe place that we were visualizing and tuning into through all of our senses: touch, sound, aromas. Imagine that you're there in that safe place right now. And before we finish the practice today, think back to the whole week, if you were part of this week, or the whole of the practice today. And what is it that has changed for you? What have you learned? What's shifted in the way you breathe, perhaps? What inspired you? Let's take a few minutes for that. The body practices, the grounding and orienting, the hugging, especially. I like that one. And this is one of my favorites too, holding my own hand. Whenever we're working with practices like this, it's really important to be patient and kind with ourselves. These practices can help to heal some of the habits that we have. Some of the habits of holding our breath or tension in our body. And that's really helpful to know and to be able to release some of that tension. Cyclic sighing, I love all of them. Yeah, quicker access to being able to calm ourselves too. That's really important to know that when we are in a state of dysregulation or distress, that we actually can come out of that. We can come out of it short term with a practice like cyclic sighing or tapping or framing an image if we're really compulsive thought. I was thinking about that the other day, of a time when I was really not able to control the compulsive thinking that I had. And I was disturbed about something, and it went on for months. And I thought, gee, if I'd just known some of these practices at that time, I could have had some relief from that. We don't know in the past what we didn't know then, and now we can do something different with that. If anything inspired you to, maybe take a moment to set an intention. If you've noticed that you have a lot of breathing in your chest, or that you hold your breath a lot, that would be a really great practice of mindfulness. I'm going to check in. You could do it through an app or something on your phone. I'm just going to check in. How am I breathing? I did that a lot at the beginning. That can be a very helpful practice. As you get that a little bit more regular, you've got more continuity and ease. And you could maybe say, I really resonate with that cyclic sighing. Stanford University said 5 minutes a day of that's really helpful for the nervous system. I'm going to do a practice of that for the next couple of weeks and see what happens. Or alternate nostril breathing, the joyful breath, is so helpful. I've done many variations of practices with that over the years. One is before every meal, I would do 5 minutes of alternate nostril breathing. Just to notice what inspired you and what might you like to bring forward. This is all workable. We have all these experiences in our nervous system in the past, but also presently. It's a hard place to be right now. There's a lot of stress and a lot of people are very dysregulated. And we can be doing practices that help us come into regulation. So the recordings, when they're available, would be helpful as well. And you're always welcome to join me here for the daily practice. Thank you very much, everyone. Happy Breathing Week.